Our top focus as of now. The West's efforts to boost weapons supply to Ukraine has irked Russia, naturally, as Moscow continues what it calls a special military operation in Ukraine, which has now gone on for more than 60 days. From anti-aircraft guns to anti-aircraft missile systems, the West has now been sending in advanced military equipment to Kyiv, and NATO says that it is ready to maintain its support for Ukraine in the war against Russia for years, including help for Kyiv to shift from Soviet-era weapons to modern Western arms and systems.
NATO allies are preparing to provide support over a long period of time and also help Ukraine to transit or move from old Soviet-era equipment to more modern NATO standard weapons and systems that will also require more training. So we will continue to put the maximum pressure on President Putin to end the war by imposing sanctions, by providing economic support, but also military support to Ukraine. And we need to be prepared for the long term. It's a very unpredictable and fragile situation in Ukraine. But there is absolutely a possibility that this war will drag on and last for months and years.
Most of the heavy weapons that NATO countries have sent to Ukraine so far are Soviet-built arms, still in the inventories of East European NATO members. But the United States and some other allies have started to supply Kyiv with Western howitzers. Germany has also announced the shipment of Gepard tanks equipped with anti-aircraft guns to Ukraine. This is the first time that Berlin has approved heavy weapons deliveries for Kyiv. US President Joe Biden has asked Congress for $33 billion to support Kyiv, and this is being seen as a dramatic escalation of the US funding for the war against Russia. Out of the $33 billion, more than $20 billion will be allocated for weapons, ammunition, and other military assistance.
We have to do our part as well in leading the alliance. The cost of this fight is not cheap, but caving to aggression is going to be more costly if we allow it to happen. We either back Ukrainian people as they defend their country, or we stand by as the Russians continue their atrocities and aggression in Ukraine. Every day the Ukrainians pay for the price, and the price they pay is with their lives for this fight.
The Kremlin has now warned the West. It says that Western arms supplies to Ukraine, including heavy weapons, pose a threat to the security of the European continent.
Сама по себе тенденция на накачивание вооружениями, в том числе и тяжелыми вооружениями Украины и других стран, это те действия, которые угрожают безопасности континента.
The latest statement from the Kremlin has added to a pattern of escalating rhetoric from both sides as the West steps up weapons supplies. Moscow has accused the Western allies of waging a proxy war against Russia. On Wednesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin also warned those who said that they were creating a strategic threat for Russia. Putin added that Russia has tools that no one else can boast of having, and that it would use it when necessary.
If anyone sets out to intervene in the current events from the outside and creates unacceptable threats for us that are strategic in nature, they should know that our response will be lightning fast. We have all the tools for this that no one else can boast of having. We won't boast about it, we'll use them if needed, and I want everyone to know that.
The West has openly called on Ukraine to attack Russia and has said that Ukraine has the right to strike military targets inside Russia. On Wednesday, Russia reported a series of blasts in the south and a fire at an ammunition depot as well. Moscow has accused the West of inciting Ukrainian attacks on Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry also accused the OSCE of handing down information on the very location of Russian troops to Western and Ukrainian intelligence. Moscow has even warned, saying that if such attacks continue, it would target the decision-making centers in Ukraine, including those where it said Western advisors were helping Kyiv. And now to discuss the implications of the West's support to Ukraine, journalist Yehor Brailian is now joining us live from Kyiv. Yehor, thanks so much for joining us and welcome to WION World is One.
Yes, hello.
My first question to you, Yehor, as we know, President Biden has now signed a strategic and a staggering $33 billion of a request for supplemental funding for Ukraine. Russia's not going to like it, and this is putting it mildly. Will this lead to a rise in tensions?
I will say, first of all, that this step of the United States president is very important for Ukraine, and it will help to strengthen Ukrainian defense capabilities and to strengthen the armed forces of Ukraine. And I would emphasize that this step of America will lead to the win of Ukraine, because it's very clear for a lot of people that Russia is a pariah now. Russia have lost its military capabilities, and the whole world witnessed how Russia, first of all, they told us that they will get Kyiv in 3 days, and now the third month of Russian-Ukrainian war, full-scale Russian invasion, have started.
Right. Yehor, just interjecting right there, you say that this will make Russia a pariah of sorts, but we've seen how ineffective global sanctions have been to deter Russia and its aggression in Ukraine. We've also seen the European Union and, of course, the West, led by the United States, continue to pour in weapons without interfering directly into this conflict. So will this deter Russian aggression in Ukraine, according to you?
I suppose yes, because it's not only military aid, it's also economic aid, so it's support for Ukrainian economy, and like the thing with military aid to Ukraine is in this. So the West is not the part of Russian-Ukrainian war, because Russia invaded Ukraine. And it's only political will of NATO countries, also Australia, other countries, which provide military and economic support for Ukraine. So that's why Ukrainian army is protecting their own homeland from invaders. So, and that's why it's not. It's very important to emphasize on this fact.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.